Hello, my friends. Today, the situation along the front line remains extremely tense. Let's start with the catastrophic developments in Toretsk. Russian forces have managed to completely capture the city and even advanced beyond its outskirts from three different positions. This has significantly worsened the situation for Krymsk and Sherbynivka. Yesterday, Russian troops made gains in Sherbynivka as well. It's now clear that in the near future, Russian forces will likely push toward the Klymanbyk Reservoir, which is just 4 kilometers and 200 meters from the current front line. Beyond that, their movement is expected to target the outskirts of Kostyantynivka, which lies 11 kilometers from the front. The situation here is extremely precarious, with momentum currently on the Russian side. In the Pokrovsk direction, the situation is no better. Here, the Russians are devastating Mirnograd and Pokrovsk, gradually leveling the cities. Following their capture of Pishane, intense fighting is underway around Kotliny and Udachne. According to reports, Russian forces are crossing the highway and attacking nearby settlements. This breakthrough has also led to the shutdown of Ukraine's only coking coal mine plant near Pokrovsk. Ukraine has halted operations at its only coking coal mine in Pokrovsk due to advancing Russian forces. The facility is the country's sole producer of coking coal, a vital material for Ukraine's steel industry, which has been severely crippled since Russia's February 2022 invasion. The war destroyed key steel plants, leading to a 70.7% production drop in 2022, down to 6.3 million tons. In 2023, production further fell to 6 million tons, according to reports. As you can imagine, this situation is inflicting massive economic losses on Ukraine. Additionally, fighting continues for control over what remains of the village of Novovasilievka, half of which is now under Russian control. Efforts to break through toward Pokrovsk persist, with assaults on Zelene, Lysivka, and intense battles near Mirnograd for the villages of Promeny and Yelizavetivka. Over the past 24 hours, Russian forces have launched 74 assaults, reinforcing that this is currently their primary focus. And Sullivan has stated that to stabilize the front, Ukraine will likely need to lower the mobilization age to 18. Ultimately, this is a sovereign decision Ukraine will need to make. However, we have been very clear, both publicly and privately, that manpower is a serious concern and Ukraine needs to address this, he said. This highlights the ongoing pressure on Ukraine. In the Kurakhove direction, Russian forces continue assaulting the villages of Zaporizhia and Novoandriivka, advancing from Petropavlivka and Shevchenko and attacking Dachne and Constantinople. The situation here remains highly challenging, though no significant changes occurred over the past day and the fighting continues. Meanwhile, Ukrainian soldiers report that Russian forces are continuing to expand their units. It turns out they officially incorporated assault motorized platoons into their units. These are composed of individuals skilled in operating mopeds and motorcycles, and they later appear in footage storming fields on mopeds. This is the so called evolution of the Russians' mechanized units. In the area of Velika Novosilka, Russian forces are doing everything possible to encircle the town. Fierce battles are taking place for Vremivka and Neskuchne. The town is under heavy shelling and attacks are being launched from the village of Rivnopil. Strikes are being recorded not only along the front line but also deeper into the rear. The Russians appear intent to advancing to the border of Dnipropetrovsk region. Yesterday evening, Russian military bloggers reported that they had already captured Neskuchne and entered the southern outskirts of Vremivka. The assault units of the Fifth Army have liberated the village of Neskuchne and entered the southern outskirts of Vremivka. Additionally, territory south of Velika Novosilka has been brought under control. The advance along the front amounted to about 2 kilometers. We can only hope this information is not accurate. For now, we await updates from Ukrainian forces soldiers. In the Zaporizhia direction, there is a lull. Of course, I could be mistaken, but there is a possibility that as negotiations draw nearer, Russian forces are beginning to reduce activity in certain areas while intensifying efforts in more strategically significant ones. They may realize that achieving significant successes in the Zaporizhia sector is unlikely within their frame time. Perhaps this explains their quiet here over the past few days. For now, we wait to see how the situation unfolds. In the Kherson area, Russian forces continue the attacks near Zabich Island and are shelling the right bank of the Dnipro River. However, they haven't achieved any new successes and the front line remains unchanged. Meanwhile, activity in Chasiv Yar has intensified with 15 assaults recorded in the past day. For this direction, this level of activity is significant. Russian forces are attempting to advance within the city, storming Stupachki and pushing across fields toward Bilahora. Reports from the Ukrainian forces indicate small gains by the Russians. The Russians have intensified assaults in Chasiv Yar. Unfortunately, there have been some advances, particularly at the fireproof materials factory, which is now less than half under the control of the defense forces. The factory has a large adjacent area, parts of which remain uncontested by the Russians. The remaining part of the Klymanbyk bridgehead is still being held. The situation is worsening, but it's not yet catastrophic. In the Siversk area, Russian forces have halted the activity. No new assaults have been recorded today, and all previous attacks were unsuccessful, leaving the front line unchanged. In the Liman direction, fighting continues near the village of Terne, and Russian forces are assaulting Zarichne. While no new offensives have been reported near Ivanivka, the Ukrainian forces reported occasional attacks on the village of Kolodezi. Overall, activity in this sector remains steady, with Russian forces persistently attempting to advance toward Liman. Meanwhile, Russian forces have made gains in the Borova sector, extending the front line near the village of Kopanki. Assaults are ongoing on Pershotravneve, Kopanki, Novosergiyevka, and Novoyegorivka. South of this area, no significant activity has been reported, and the front line remains stable. In the Kupiansk sector, Russian forces conducted 8 assaults over the past day. They continue efforts to gain control of Petropavlivka and advance through the fields near Pishane. However, these attempts haven't been successful and the front line remains unchanged. In the Kharkiv direction, Russian forces are attempting to advance toward the village of Kozacha Lopань while continuing to shell border villages. Offensive activity in this area remains relatively low, with reports of only 2 assaults over the past day. Despite their apparent intentions for this region, no progress has been made. In Vovchansk, fighting persists with 2 additional assaults recorded, but these have also been unsuccessful. In the Zaporizhia direction, Russian and North Korean forces are maintaining offensive operations. However, no changes to the front line have been reported in the past 24 hours. Ukrainian forces are successfully holding their defensive positions. It has become clear that Russian efforts to push Ukrainian troops off Russian territory before Trump's inauguration will likely fail. If peace talks begin, this would place Ukraine in a stronger negotiation position, a strategic goal for the Ukrainian side. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to target Russian territory. Late last night, ballistic missiles reported a strike Bryansk region. There are also reports of missile attacks on a chemical plant in the Bryansk region, followed by news of strikes in the Tula region, where approximately 15 explosions were recorded. Details are still emerging. Meanwhile, NATO Secretary-General recently emphasized the substantial military capacity of Russia. Russia's economy is no larger than the combined economies of the Netherlands and Belgium. They produce in 3 months what NATO produces in a year. With lower wages and less bureaucracy, they move faster and have established a wartime economy. If the European Union doesn't allocate more funds for defense, Europeans may end up learning Russian. If we don't act in 4 or 5 years, we'll either have to take Russian language courses or move to New Zealand. Ukraine currently lacks the leverage to negotiate with Russia from a position of strength. As we can see, friends, the good news remains scarce and the course of events is unpredictable. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.